My name is Tristan Attenborough. I'm the Senior Executive Officer for JP Morgan here in Abu Dhabi Global Market. In Abu Dhabi, the community we have here, let me begin with that, is just a fantastically positive, growing community. It's just a pleasure to be a part of. And maybe I can just begin personally, having been here now 6 months, the inclusion and the facilitation of people arriving into this community has been first class. From a business point of view, let me focus on a few of the key things that make that important. Firstly, it's about ease of doing business. And in an increasingly complicated world, making life easier for people and businesses is very important. The second thing is infrastructure and risk management. Things like the rule of law being English law, thinking about easy to work with regulator who's prepared to collaborate with the community and help develop and maintain a modern regulatory infrastructure. The operational community here, the ability to access offices, and then importantly that wider business community of both local clients from our perspective, global clients, and the ability to support both within one ecosystem. So I think it's first of all, in terms of how being here in Abu Dhabi helps us and helps the community we are now a key part of. Firstly, you have to recognize that the world is shifting. And generally speaking, one of those shifts is a move eastwards in terms of kind of the gravitational center of where commerce, business, and financial services is operating. So Abu Dhabi is incredibly well placed from a time zone, logistical, and other point of view. So first up, that's an important geographic basis for this. The second part is the ability to cover those time zones with a community, a talent base, a service sector, a regulator, and an environment that is pro-business and focused on development and innovation. And so from an Abu Dhabi point of view, there's a couple of very important fundamentals there that perhaps are not quite as true in other locations that, Abu Dhabi finds itself competing with on the global stage. The final piece of that is then connectivity. How do you connect this center, ADGM as a center, with those other key centers in Europe, in Asia, and then in the Western Hemisphere, the US and Latin America? And again, Abu Dhabi is making that incredibly easy with a very digital, technology forward focus in terms of connecting here and around the world, and importantly into key growth areas like Africa. It's very difficult to have any conversation these days without thinking about how technology and innovation is shaping the business. And I think for me, it's important to break that down into a couple of basic elements. First of all, let's talk about ourselves as a global organization and the ability to deliver at scale. So as we look over the recent holiday period, particularly things like Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday, JP Morgan broke new records of scale. We processed over $16.1 trillion as the highest volume in a single day. We processed nearly 14 million transactions for sanctions on Cyber Monday. And our e-commerce and payments platforms are hitting new levels the whole time. You can't do that without a relentless investment in technology. And whilst those numbers seem large, why they matter is because that's all for our clients, processing flawlessly for our clients every day. The second thing, and even more important thing, is how we invest in our technology for our clients, thinking about the right ways to connect with us, to communicate with us, the payment methods that clients want to use increasingly as their own lives and their own businesses develop. So whether we're talking about customer-facing technologies or customer-enabling technologies, or our own technology to process globally and at scale, it's having a meaningful impact across our business. As you might expect, AI is also helping shape the way our business evolves. So the company strategy has remained very consistent and central, which is we want to be where our clients need us most. And we want to be there bringing value-added, technology-forward, modern solutions for clients, no matter what stage in their journey they are at. So from our point of view, Abu Dhabi, for the reasons we covered earlier, is absolutely central to continuing to be where our clients want to be. The second thing is, it's absolutely essential for us to help Abu Dhabi itself connect into that global community. We're here this week in Abu Dhabi Finance Week, with capital being at the center of the dialogue, and capital has to flow. And one of the central things that JP Morgan and JP Morgan Payments do is move money around the world. We move capital around the world. So our strategy has always been those things, but what this has helped us do is shift that to where our clients want to be today, and that is in the secure, forward-looking Abu Dhabi global market. So financial security is absolutely paramount. For decades now, the firm has talked about our fortress balance sheet, and that fortress isn't just a function of financial strength and robustness and risk and control. It is also how we think about the payment flows and the transactions we process for clients every day. So we spend upwards of $700 million a year on cyber security, cyber defense, fraud protection, and we're constantly evolving the way we evaluate that. And that's not just thinking about doing the sensible basic things of how you would control for fraud or cyber every single day. It's also about providing tools to our clients to allow them to define the types of transactions they want us to process, when they want us to process them, where, what time of day, and so on, which just allows our clients that additional level of control in how they also manage those risks. So for us, it's absolutely front and center essential. And we try to also make all the tools available to our clients so that it can be just as important for them. The opportunities in today's business and financial landscape are so vast and varied, but I think if we come back to some core principles, the first one would be the continuing need for the world to trade together. And when we think about both where Abu Dhabi is located or the global footprint and presence of JP Morgan, you've got a natural complement there to helping different parties trade with each other around the world every day. Patterns of energy flows, consumer good flows are changing all the time, and there are also rapidly growing markets, for example in Africa, that need to continue to grow their trade with other parts of the world. So at a core level, the business opportunities remain as significant and as abundant as they always have been. But they're shifting. And so whenever you get a shift, whether you're thinking about a new customer, a new market, a new currency, or some form of new opportunity, you have to think about that as a company, and you have to manage the risks that come with it too. And that's where a partnership with somebody like JP Morgan as part of ADGM can be very helpful. The currency landscape is a very interesting one, and I think it's important to think about that both in the forward-looking digital currencies, which we'll touch on, but also in the traditional currencies, as customers think about what markets they're exposed to, the role that they may have with the US dollar or the euro or the RMB or whatever currency matters to them is going to change as their businesses change and evolve. So even the existing fiat currency world is shifting and changing all the time. So is the digital world. This is an important and topical conversation about what is the role of stablecoins. And we know that not all stablecoins are created equally. So where do they play a role in the ecosystem? Deposit tokens, how do they play a role, such as JPMD, in helping customers get on and off the digital world from the fiat world of currency? And then we think about other methods of payment as well. So the dialogue around currencies, be they central bank, new currencies, coins or otherwise, is going to continue to shape and evolve as the world innovates and tries to meet customers' future needs. So I'm deeply optimistic about the future. Definitely a glass half full kind of guy. I think from my point of view, a few things. Firstly, the world continues to evolve at pace. But not everywhere in the world is in the same kind of forward-thinking trajectory that you have Abu Dhabi on today. And so one of the things that really excites me is the opportunity presented by this place. I think the second thing that excites me is, even though some of the things going around the world seem perhaps less constructive on the face of it, they're all things that present opportunities for clients and also areas that we can help support those clients. And whilst that sounds often like there's uncertainty in the world, it's really managing that through a partnership together where we can take away some of that risk, tackle it together, and think about really the commercial benefit we have for our clients and their clients as they grow and develop around the world. performance. So I think you have to be optimistic about these things, but I also think you have to be realistic about what it takes to execute them. And some of that is down to day-to-day practical mechanics. And to do that, you need to be in the market with your customers, working shoulder to shoulder every day. Abu Dhabi has built an incredibly digital economy. The e-government services here are, frankly, the best I've seen in the world. It's supremely easy to operate one's life, both personally and commercially here, because of that centralized, digitized infrastructure that allows you to operate so much more quickly than anywhere else around the world. That would certainly include the UK, I'm afraid to say. In addition to that, I think it's also the mindset. And very often we can find situations where we're very focused in the here and now and the today. We're focused on the next few months or the next election cycle or perhaps some near-term horizon. Here in Abu Dhabi, I get the real sense that that is not the relevant time horizon. The relevant time horizon is 12, 18, 24, 5 years away from here. And that's what we're solving for, that long-term sustainable progress and development. And that as a foundation for an individual or a business is an excellent basis for a place to be. Yeah, so how does one think about tax in its broadest sense as a point of friction in business? So firstly, I would say that all jurisdictions have their own fiscal regimes, and it's important to be compliant with those. Taxes are both overt and understood and available for people to see and deal with, but they're also hidden. And that hidden tax is often bureaucracy. It's process, it's paper, it's over-regulation. And what I see here in Abu Dhabi is a lot less of that kind of hidden cost to the business, tax in its broadest sense. And really the idea that even if there is a point of friction, a collaborative mindset that says, let's talk about that and see if we can make that a little bit easier. So that also that desire to progress. So for sure, it's a relevant factor, one of many that I think fit as to why this is a great place to be at this time. I've talked about this genuinely welcoming family mindset of the Emirati culture, the ability and the desire to serve people and provide great service to people, when you're at a restaurant or when you're undertaking a professional service. So I think there is just a very straightforward mindset that if you can be welcoming, if you can make people's lives a comfortable and meaningful place to be, that you'll continue to attract people. And that has certainly been my experience. It's been a fantastic 6 or 7 months so far, and I'm deeply excited to continue.